that's a 4 hour demand. Same, everything's the same, just that it's actually at a key level. And then the other one is a 45-minute demand on the 11th. But everything else is like auction based setups. Um, hold on. What is it? I don't got my shit organized. My bad.
Don't even
I
trip.
woke up at 4 in the morning today, and I hadn't gone over the last, not this past week, but the week prior. So my shit was all unorganized. I should take forever to organize again. Base. All right. Can you guys see my screen? Oh,
No.
I'm not even sharing. I'm fucking up. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I feel like just when you, for me, I feel like a large part of what my problem was I was just getting confused with like, okay, I have my auction setups, but then I have my higher time frame, like that's my main focus. And I was just like going through the week, mixing both up and not really being organized with it. And then I don't know if I had mentioned this, but where I was like, okay, like I need to remember that those higher time frame zones, why isn't this working? Oh, those higher time frame zone setups only occur less frequently than like an auction based setup. So like even just reviewing my uh journal from previous times, like on May 13th, I had a 90-minute demand that worked and I had a daily demand, but only those two were like higher time frame setups that actually are what I'm looking for. And then like the next week I had a 4 hours supply setup that worked. And then the last week I had a, what is this, another 4 hour supply setup that worked. And then this past week there was that 4 hour demand and there was that 45-minute demand. So it's like attacking the week knowing like, okay, these higher time frame setups, they're only going to appear once, twice a week. So that's my main focus. And then the other days where I do see the auction based setups, it's more focused on journaling those setups and making sure I have that in my journal. So now what I'm doing is like my A plus setups, I highlight, which are higher time frame zones. I'll like highlight those green to remind myself like, okay, this happened once this week, this happened twice this week. And then the B plus setups, I'm highlighting them like this kind of blue color here, just so that I can separate, like knowing like, okay, this was a higher time frame setup and this was more of a B plus setup. So like doing that organizing that just in my overall process just helps me go into the week like not trying to trade every day. And I feel like that's what I was getting back to. So I'm trying to like control that again. Does that make sense? I just, because I know Eloy, you were saying like, oh, are we not focusing on higher time frame setups anymore? But it's still that, like that's still the main core. That's where our main, like you're gonna get the highest probability at those higher time frame zones. And then the auction based is more like, okay, this is lower quality, but there's still opportunity here.
Like right now, I feel like we're more focused on reading the auction better.
Yeah, for sure. And that's where I got thrown off, where I was like over focusing on the auction idea. So I had to like pull myself back and remind myself like, okay, the auction idea is it still applies at higher time frame zones, but don't get it confused with like trying to trade every day. Just because even chat said the more you learn the auction based things, you're gonna start seeing setups more frequently because you understand the way the auction moves more. But don't get it confused with what your A plus setup still is. So that's why right now I'm saying like, okay, let's go over the ninth because that's at a higher time frame zone. It's a 4 hour demand. So that we I, that so Eloy, you can also see that like, okay, at a higher time frame demand, that auction setup idea is still valid. So this that day it was like a super large sell off uh all morning basically. And did I take a trade before that? I think I did. Yeah, so I took a short at this 30-minute supply, which did work out. But this also goes into what I was mentioning yesterday, where so see how here we had this rally, this 30-minute supply was there, and then we got this aggressive sell off coming down. And then look at how all this buying built up here. And when price tried to pop back into it, so this is the first time. Let me. I'm trying to get it before. Okay, so this is the initial sell off from the high a day here, and as it's falling down, you can see if you're just looking at the delta here, all the action or all the delta is down here inside my 30-minute supply zone still. So as it's coming down, I'm thinking, is price gonna hold as support here, or is it gonna break under and continue moving down to VWAP or even pre-market high potentially, but preferably VWAP. But as I think NQ was doing something that caught my attention to. Where's NQ? Oh, so part of the reason I was bearish on this idea was because NQ was rejecting a 45-minute supply zone at the same time that ES was rejecting this high a day here that it had done. So I was like, okay, we popped above yesterday's high. Market's now falling super aggressive, and NQ's breaking or rejecting the 45-minute supply zone. So that already led me to think like, okay, that target towards VWAP is definitely possible. And we had VX rising super strong. And uh, we've already started like a bearish momentum since Friday because that's when that initial sell off began. So currently we're in like a bearish kind of environment. So that was the initial context for that. And then as I'm watching this fall, I'm seeing how aggressive the selling is. But I know that
So,
there's a
so for if you were to turn bearish, would you want it to break 74.72 before invalidating the short?
74.72.
Because it's above the buying delta that's not sustaining or that's trying to sustain.
Are you
Like,
saying
where would you invalidate this short setup?
yeah, you're right there. It's that 74.72. So right now, I'm looking at this as it's falling, and I'm telling myself I want to see price break under here and then pop back up into these buyers and fail to reclaim 74.72. As long as it fails to reclaim 74.72, this bearish momentum is still in play to target VWAP. The thing is, when I got long, I set my stop inside of the zone, inside of this auction action here, inside of where all these buyers were. So, although my thesis was right, my stop was wrong because buyers still had buyers still had the opportunity to try to reclaim 74.72. So, like I said, I wanted to see that break under, and then now I'm like, okay, can buyers get above or do they hold under this aggressive delta here? So now they pop up, and then on the next move they reject. But why did I get long there? No, I didn't get long because I was just like, I don't know. I was kind of iffy about the 30-minute supply. So then I was like, okay, if they pop up again and reject, then I'll try it. So then here they do that rejection, they pop up, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get short. So I got short underneath 74.65, right underneath my 30-minute. But then look at where I set my stop. I set my stop inside of where all this buying is. technically for this to be invalidated, I would have had to set my stop above 74.72. So I got short and then instantly got stopped, but then the move continued going. So if I would have set my stop just even slightly above higher, but that would still put me at risk of getting stopped out. The only thing I don't like about this is that 65s, that's like a 7 point stop. So that's also why I didn't put my stop up there because I was like sketched out by having a 7 point stop. But yesterday I did a 6 point stop or 6.5 point stop, and it did end up working out. So it's less about the points, I guess, at this in this circumstance, and it's more about like where is your trade truly invalidated. And yeah,
Makes
it's gonna
sense.
suck to get that 6 point stop, but that is where the setup is invalidated.
So where would you uh is the we have to learn how to be more patient for that, like after you got in there was still another pullback? I'm assuming that's where you said you got stopped.
Yeah, so I got in here,
Stopped
and
up
then
there.
it tried to push lower, and then it popped up super fast. And actually, this kind of action, it's exactly what happened yesterday too. It gets like a quick sweep into like that aggressive buying, and that's even a strong. And if that gets rejected, that's even a stronger confirmation of like, okay, this is these buyers are failing here, because it's like we got this initial pop, it rejects, then buyers try again, it rejects, and then buyers try to sweep up super fast and then instantly rejects, and that should give you more confidence like, okay, these buyers are really failing here. And every time they tried to pop up, it was like a lower high, while this was a little higher than that, but overall for where it started, it was a lower high.
How many points was your target from your entry?
uh, 65 to 52 is VWAP.
So was it 12 point, 13 point?
Yeah, so that's a what is how do you say that in R to R? 1 to 1?
Like 1 to 2.
A 1 to 2?
If your stop was like, oh no, your stop wasn't 6 points. It was 3 points. That's like 1 to 4.
Yeah, so but I'm saying like if you would have actually obeyed that idea of like, okay, where is my trade invalidated, and you put it at about 72, then I mean that's still see, like this one's a little tough because 72 is about 7 points right there. So
But this
but
is
if you
a
use like this wick, I mean this little where buyers started, plus that sweep on this pop here that fails, it gives you more reliability on the setup, and it you're just I like when it sweeps up and it's going into that buyer aggression and they instantly reject. It's just like more trust in what's happening.
Especially in a supply zone.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, and then this shit ended up falling even further. It fell all the way down to 4 hour, and then even down here. I think it even broke these zones, but I ended up getting long on this 4 hour demand. So I took a loss here, and then I was kind of bummed out. And then once we came down, I seen all this selling, and we came down into a strong 4 hour demand. It was strong because it was formed intraday. It wasn't like a 4 hour from pre-market like this one was. So once we got here, I seen this buying occurring 300, 100, 100, and then this 100. And we got this super fast sweep up on that buying also. And then we pushed up, what is that, from 575 to 85, almost 10 points. So then in my mind, I was like, okay, if we pull back and then hold these buyers at 73.75, which is right where my 4 hour demand was, and then pop up and we get a shallow pullback, I'll get long. So once it popped up here, it wasn't aggressive enough for me to trust it, and then it pulls back again, holds still that 73.75 area, and then it pops up super strong here. So as this was happening, I was waiting for like a small type of like pullback to get long, and it happened over here at the 79s. So like it popped up to like 81 and then it pulls back and then 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79. So that's a 5 point stop. Uh, was it 5 points? Let me see.
What was your stop?
What?
Your stop was 74.
Yeah,
That's 5 points.
yeah, 5 points. So then I was targeting yesterday. In my head, I wanted to
Oh,
target yesterday's low, but I seen that we had these 200 delta sellers over here, and it was a limit orders that were sitting there. So that became my target, and I was like, okay, that's 10 points from my entry. That's gonna be my target, and
I
we
think
did
you
end
got
up hitting.
I think
What?
you got out at the perfect time because I think it continued lower too.
Yeah, it did keep pushing. Look, see here's the pop. It did pull back slightly and then finally hit yesterday's low. So I got out like right before it started pulling back here.
Nice.
Um,
Dang, those are 2 trades
but
in one day.
also part of the reason why I was quick to get out was one, look at I'm going against the trend, the overall trend. So that was already sketchy to me. But I didn't like that as I was getting long, NQ didn't have support. So I was like, I'm gonna just get my 10 points and get out. Like, yeah, yesterday low is slightly above, but I just didn't like that NQ didn't have support on that bounce. So I took it. I didn't take it with the mindset of like, okay, I'm catching a reversal. I took it with the mindset of like, I'm catching a scalp long, and then this could continue down. But do you guys want to see that live?
Yeah, we can.
Sure.
You guys want to see the 30-minute or both, or one of them?
We could just see both to get 2 examples going.
Alright.
I gave myself a new rule saying I have to at least take one auction trade a week.
That's scary.
It's scary, but it forces me to take a trade, stop being a pussy, and it forces me to learn the delta and the auction better because I'm gonna start losing money if I don't. Starting next week. So
You have to take the trade.
yeah.
I'm
If
trying to tell myself to just journal it.
I know, but I haven't been taking that many trades, so I have like the opposite problem of you. So I have to force myself to take a trade.
All right. And with these 30-minute supply zones, I almost would consider this more auction trade than like a higher time frame, or definitely it's not a higher time frame. It's a 30-minute supply zone. I even have it as a dotted line because it's like, okay, this is a smaller time frame zone. 45 and higher, I'll consider higher time frame zones, but 30-minute and then anything under 30-minute, I'm going to consider that in my mind auction setups. And even the way the price reacts at these zones, it's a little sloppier than it would at a higher time frame zone. So just take, like, if we watch this right now, so here's the sell off that occurred. This is the 30-minute supply zone here, this dotted ink line. And then this is all the buying that's built up. And if I zoom out from 6:30 to present time, all the action, all the delta, like the heaviest delta is in this area here. So that already is telling me that like this is either going to be a support level or a resistance level. But like I said, NQ was rejecting that 45-minute supply zone. So I was like, and we were already on a bearish condition with how that past Friday sold off. So in my eyes, I was like, okay, this can break, and then I want to see buyers pop into it. And all I'm seeing here right now is just these buyers continue to build up. So as this was all happening, buyers were just building up here. And there's that 400 delta here. So I'm wanting to see that break. And there's the break. And now I'm telling myself I want to see these buyers fail to get above this 74, 72 area. If they fail to get above that, then the shorts can work.
Dude, the delta was really the last key we needed.
Hell yeah.
It just makes so much sense.
Yep. And I can't believe I thought Bookmap didn't have it.
I know.
So here's the pop into the four buyer delta. And then we get a pop higher. You can see the delta trying to build also on the buy side.
I wonder what an outlier means to us nowadays that we know more shit. Like how to use it.
To me, it's this here, this group of delta buying. That's the outlier to me.
But like,
The funny
not
thing
a-
is, like,
what is like a big
I feel like-
outlier on a bubble? Like we used to use it.
yeah, I feel like the delta outliers are way more reliable than the bubble outliers.
Yeah.
I don't think the bubble outliers are reliable at all. I'm saying like how can that be used now that we have more knowledge? Not that it's like the reliable outlier source, but like before we used to think that was key, and now I'm wondering what do those mean in the new world of how we look at the auction.
It's just an added confluence, it's an added confirmation to it.
Yeah, because there was a trade I was reviewing from Monday where the delta had built up, and right where that delta had built up, there was a large bubble there at the same time. So I was like, okay, the delta's telling me that this is a large participant, and then the bubble also is confirming that. But I think the issue is that Bookmap makes the bubbles trying to relate the bubble size to the overall what we're overall seeing plus what the delta is, so it's kind of thrown off a bit, the size of the circle I'm saying. But specifically the outlier to me is seeing where all the participants are sitting at. So in this case it's this 74.72 to 74.66, let's say. And what I've realized is like, if it's grouped multiple 200s, then to me that sticks out to me slightly. If it's 300s, it starts to stick out even more. Once it starts to get to like the 400s, I'm like, okay, like there's something building up here. But if it's like 3 or 4 100s, I don't really. I mean, yeah, 3 or 4 100s. I don't really like that. I want to see some larger size sitting there.
The red dotted line is the bottom of your supply.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
So like a groupie. Oh wait, go ahead, Eloy.
I'll go.
No, I was just asking the supply. You're good.
So if you see a group of 100s, that doesn't stick out to you,
Like,
even if
it
it's
does.
even if it's the largest.
It does catch my attention, but I'd prefer to see like, say like for example right now, this before price got into here, say this was 100 100 100, and then I'm like, okay, that's a little odd. And then as price gets into that, I would rather see that what those 100s start to build up larger size. So like it starts to become 300 200s, because now that's showing me that okay, we did have buyers here initially. There was 100 100 100, and then buyers are popping back into it, and they're trying to build up size again. And if they're trying to build up size and then start rejecting, that's now telling me, okay, buyers popped back into that 100 area, built up size, and still failed.
Yeah. All right, that makes sense.
Because see how here earlier it was 200, 200, 200, and now it's building to 300, 300. I don't know if this becomes 300 also. That's showing me that, like, okay, buyers are coming into here. They're trying to keep pushing, but sellers aren't letting them.
So the delta getting built up in that little section, that's absorption, just because it's not breaking past it.
Exactly. So like if buyers are coming into here and now the size on the buying delta is building up, yet it's not pushing up higher, that's telling me that sellers are absorbing this buying right now. So right now, as we see this falling, sellers absorbed this 300 delta, 300 delta, 200 delta.
And just so I don't make it seem like this is definite, there is a version of this type of absorption where it still does go up.
Yes. If say for example this happens and then it pulls back, and that's why you don't want to get short just because you see this happening. Like, oh, buyers built up, we instantly see this rejection and I'm going to get short because buyers could come down into here, pop this up and still go up higher, reclaiming this buying basically. So like just because you see something happen, that's why you need to be patient with it because they can still try to reclaim a little higher. And that's also why I got short once we got down here on the next pop up.
Getting short any higher would just be more like uh, the market is perfectly giving you like a third chance to look at that rejection. Like if
The
it,
only way I would like getting short up here is say it pulls back down here and then it quickly, like super fast, sweeps up and then instantly rejects back under the large buying delta. That'll tell me, like, okay, buyers tried that 300 right here, they rejected. Then buyers tried super strong again and instantly failed. That's telling me that the buyers are definitely getting absorbed.
and that's when you have to be
So
like
then
the
if you get
sniper.
short up here on that rejection, your stop can be a little tighter. The risk to reward is better, but you are putting yourself in a more delicate position because they have to break this or else you're most likely going to get stopped.
That's why we're called snipers, bro.
So you have to ask yourself, are you trying to trade this in a sense where your risk is tighter, or do you want more confirmation but your risk has to be a little larger? So here's the rejection. I'm speeding it up a bit. We get that rejection under, and I still don't want to just get short just because it broke under. Because, like I said, initially we popped here, so we can still pop again if buyers want to hold this, and we're making a higher low. So I'm a little skeptical of getting short still. But I am taking into consideration that this selling was a lot stronger than what this buying was. Like the way the speed of how it sold off was stronger than the speed of how the buying came in. So that's telling, and we have this strong rejection here. So that's telling me like sellers are in more control. We also rejected that 72, uh, those aggressive buyers up here that were initially there. What did I say my stop had to be? Yeah, 72. So we have this selling also building up here. Now on this pop here, I'm like, okay, are they able to reclaim that 72 again?
I
I
guess
got short at 7:06:26. So
So are are our setups different than our higher time frame setups then?
no, it's the same because you'll see when I take that 4 hour demand, it's the same idea.
So there's still absorption reclaims.
Yeah. So technically this was getting absorbed and we reclaim underneath the 30 minute.
Oh, okay. Because I was also trying to pay attention to CVD and if limit orders were appearing.
What the fuck Will's calling me? See the thing with the auction with the delta that I've been realizing is I look at CBD less. Not that it's irrelevant, but I should look at it still. I should focus on it. But I'm I like how when it's popping into those buyers, even damn this was, even as it's popping into those buyers, CBD is not making a higher high. But the limit order, so in the order of confirmations, I'd say first I'm looking at the delta, then I'd be looking at the CVD, and then I'd be looking at limit orders. And if I'm ranking it by importance. So I got short here on that rejection there. What the fuck? Why are people calling me? Is this dude in German?
Did you say Will was calling you?
Yeah.
What the hell?
my boy Will.
My cousin.
I know
April's stepbrother.
the greatest family ever of all you guys.
So I got short there, and then I set my stop. It was at, I believe it was just above this. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, 67.50. So it was just above this this pop here, but that's where I'm saying I should have set it above this here because that's where that last attempt from buyers failed. And it was inside of that range that we had pointed out, as you can see here, this range here. So it was my stop should have been up here. It was too tight because it was still inside of the auction. That's what how chat refers to it. It says if you put your stop inside of where the last auction occurred, you have a higher chance of getting stopped out. So this was looking good, and then we get this sweep here that happens.
I guess I got to figure out how to better identify a good delta. I do be zooming in and out, and I should just pick the bigger one, but I just need to get more concentrated on.
It's not going to be one specific. I mean, sometimes it will be like if it's one large 1,000, but look at how right here you can see it's grouped. It's like 300, 300, 271, but over here before it pops back in, this whole area is considered the delta. Like it's not just this 460 7467 because if it just pops up into here, it still has room to auction a little higher to 474.72. So it's this whole area.
Right.
And as buyers got into there, they started to lose their strength. Look at how the buying starts to die down. They're still built up here, but the question is, are they able to reclaim that, or do they reject? I'm speeding it up. I want to see how that sweep is though. See how aggressive it was. Where it stops me out, or when it stops me out. Oh, look at that sweep. See how it sweeps up super fast? And now you want to ask yourself, do they continue or do they reject?
Bet you were
So say
scared
I,
right here.
what happened?
Bet you were scared right here.
I was pissed. I was already out.
Oh, it stopped. Yeah.
Yeah. So see how it swept up like that? Say I hadn't got in yet, and I knew I was aware of this here. I was aware of all this buying that was there. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be patient. I'm not just gonna get in just because I see rejection. And then I see this fast sweep. Now this is telling me, okay, they instantly reject. Now if we get short under the 30-minute supply, now the chances of me of this working out are a lot higher because buyers tried once, twice, tried aggressively here, and they still failed. That's 3 attempts trying to reclaim, and the last one was super strong, and it's failing. So I'd get short. You could get short here. Yeah, you got to be short now. And then this is where it works out. And
Does it go
this
all the
is
way
where
to
I'm
pre-market
saying,
lows?
what?
Does it go to pre-market lows?
Yeah, it drops all the way to like 45 minutes.
Oh, this is a big drop. Oh shit.
Yeah. And this is where I'm saying that the auction, when you're doing it at a lower time frame or like auction based, it's a little tougher because it takes a while. It like does these fake outs before the move actually occurs. So that's why when these sweeps happen and it fails, that's one of like the better confirmations. Or you could just put some risk on up here if you really are feeling crazy. But I'd prefer to have a little more confirmation.
It's just those fake outs, man.
Yeah. So you technically could have got short any on any of these pops here. But you just need to be aware like, okay, if I get in here, I'm having a tighter risk, but the probabilities of it breaking are a little lower and you have to sit through this. Or you could get in on this pop, but you have to have a wider stop. And then if you get in on this short, the fact that it pops up, sweeps up like that, you can I still wouldn't put my stop up here. I would probably still would put it up here. Um but the fact that it sweeps up like that and then rejects, you can get short here at the 64s and set your stop at 68s.
So for this 10-minute section of absorption before you the best entry, what were the rest of the confirmations doing? Like CVD, NQ, VX?
So CVD was not
Doing much.
that's a good CVD was as these pops were happening, CVD couldn't even do any movement, which is a good sign. And then like I said, NQ was doing the rejection of the 45-minute supply zone. Oh wait.
From
This was
7 o'clock.
so it was trying to break VWAP here. Because I got in like on this here. So as when the move actually happened, I believe it was starting to break super strong here. So and then VX was pushing to break pre-market highs. So not only was the auction telling us that buyers couldn't, but the overall confirmations like VX and NQ were also aligned with that idea. And that's when it's best. When NQ and VX plus the auction is telling you, like, you can have a little more confidence. But that was basically the move there. And then to the 4-hour demand, which was at 754. the thing I didn't like about this one was it was super fast, so it made me super nervous. And we were getting close to 8 a.m. 73, 75, 50. So see how earlier I was saying, I was pointing out how it was like 200, 200, 300. Now this time the outlier on the delta is 397. So, and it happened and it's built up right at my demand zone, my 4 hour demand zone. So those two things are already telling me, giving me interest in what's occurring here. And one thing I've had to like remind myself all the time is like, don't just get excited. Ah, fuck, I went too far.
You gotta unclick the edit.
Oh, you're wise. Don't just get excited when you see the delta. Wait for the reaction after the delta. Because see how I'm seeing this 345 built up here?
Mm-hmm.
Once I see that happen, the next thing asking myself is, what's the reaction after? So now on that fast sweep there, look at how much built up. It built up to like 400, then 100, then 100, but that 400 is right inside of my zone. So now I'm asking, I don't just get long because I see that 400. I ask myself, what's the reaction to that 400? Are buyers actually um, continuing that? So remember how last week or a few maybe last review I was saying how many points does it push away after you see that delta? So here we have 73, 75, and now I'm looking to see, okay, where can it get to? It could get to this 380, 381. It could get to this 385 here. So that's what I'm looking to see. When it gets to that these limit orders, how does it react? It pulls back here slightly. So if this happens where it only pushed from 75 to 78, that's 3 points, and then instantly pulls back, I'm not gonna be jumpy to get in because it's like buyers aren't showing me that they're controlling this yet. I want to see a strong displacement. So here we're getting that strong displacement now. So now I'm telling myself, okay, can they pull back and hold above here?
Are you waiting for a full pullback or a shallow pullback?
Right here, I was very, very cautious because I had taken that loss earlier. So I wanted to see them pull back to the 75. But I like how I had calculated. I was like, okay, we have this 300 delta at 75. We've pushed basically 10 points here at the 85s. And now I'm also seeing that CVD significantly pushed up at the same time. So on this pullback, I want to see CVD not have an aggressive pullback also. So here's that push into 75. And now I'm like, okay, I want to see a strong reclaim of this and then a shallow pullback. And I was targeting these. Where's the oh? Where is it? Oh, there's a spell or something. Oh, these this. Where's the, I just seen? Oh, these right here. This 248, where these limit orders are. So that's 75 to 90. So seeing this, how we're holding this here, right at the demand zone, plus this buying is still holding. I'm starting to feel like okay, this has potential to work here. So I start to like get ready here. I could have got long anywhere here, but I waited for this push and then a pullback here. This pullback. I got long on this pullback.
Oh yeah.
And then it goes straight to my target.
What didn't make you get in on that pullback to the zone again?
Because I was just you know how I took that loss earlier? I was being more cautious because I was like, fuck, I don't want to take a loss again. So I wanted to see true intention from buyers on this push here.
So if you hadn't had that first loss, where would you got in then? Would have been
I would have
different.
probably got in. I would have probably got in. I don't know if you've seen when once it pops up, it slightly pulls back. And it holds above it. So either right there or on this here. But see how every time right now, even on the entry that I actually took, the thing I'm waiting for is that push and then a quick little pull and then going in with that next momentum. I'll replay it again. Oh, fuck. I keep doing that. Come on. So he look at how it pulls back here. Oh, I didn't do it that. No. Where the fuck did it have? Oh, here. See how it pulls, and then you get in on the next push up like that. Because what's happening here is you got that 300 delta. Market told you that it wants to push higher, pushes 10 points, then pulls back, and then you don't want to. I mean, you could technically, but I think I just got this from chat. It says like let that push happen, and then wait for that little. I don't even know if it's really called a shallow pullback, but like that like little pullback.
Retest.
Yeah, like a little pullback there, and then you get in because you can even see. Or was that my entry there? I think that was my entry. But it just gives you the opportunity to get like maybe 2 points a little better of an entry. But now if I wouldn't have got in at this 79, I probably wouldn't have got in because then I feel like I'm chasing it. But see how both the 30-minute supply and the 4 hour supply, the idea is the same. I see that delta appear, the 300 delta. I wait for market to go in the direction that I want it to go to. Then I wait for it to come back into that delta and to show me that they're truly having intention to support that move. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then also see how here at the 4 hour demand, it was a lot faster. It happened a lot faster than how it happened at the 30-minute supply. And that's because here at the 4 hour demand, it's like institutions really putting in their money. So the move's gonna be a lot stronger, a lot faster. You don't have to be like as patient. I mean, you still got to be patient, but like this one took like 10 minutes to work out. This one, as soon as it pulls back, it was like 2 minutes. So at larger time frames, higher time frame zones, which is the A plus, you can expect it to happen a lot cleaner. Whereas with the auction based and 30-minute supply zones, it's going to be a little sloppier.
Makes sense to me.
So then on the 11th, there is a 45-minute. And this one was pretty early in the session, I think. 6:50 a.m. This one on my first entry, I got impatient. Um, just I didn't wait for that pullback into the demand zone. But it all was built up off of, oh, this is that, I think when you didn't have the PPI news. Were you able to change that, Gabriel?
Yeah, I changed it.
Um so this one was because of this 1,000 delta here, and it was multiple thousands plus 2,000 sal delta that just right here, all in the 7302 to 7310s or 7311s. It was just large delta that was built up. So going into the open, I was like, okay, are the and it was at my 45-minute demand zone. So those two things, same as I said earlier, it's the large delta and my demand zone. So those two things together already is like, okay, pay attention to this area. And then at the open, we sold off underneath it. And I was telling myself, are we gonna, I think I even put it in the chat, are we gonna hold underneath these 7302s, or are we gonna reclaim to go long? So it was this, if you look here, 7302 to like 7310. That was my area to watch. Do buyers reclaim or do sellers hold underneath? Oh,
Do you put like a little box during the session to note, like, have that delta mapped out?
nah. I wish I could put a box here.
Sometimes I do, like, where I think there's a consolidation period, but I think I've been using it wrong. Now I'm going to use it for the delta, but I'll just put like a different colored box.
Yeah, that could work, but I kind of my eyes just. I guess I should do that, but my eyes kind of know what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I need to put the 45 7307. I guess I should rewind this. Because part of me did want to get short also on this. I can't see the delta because it doesn't go past 6 a.m. on the replay here. But so, like I mentioned, it was, I'm going to put a box. So it was 73.10, I had said, to 73.02.
You're looking for a long or a short here?
That's the thing I was going to say. Because we were underneath the large delta at this moment. So, like I said, it's between this 73.10 to 73.02 here. And you can even see here, the selling came down and then we popped and we were holding underneath. So my mind initially was like, oh, are we gonna? So right at the open, I was looking at how we're reacting. We instantly sell off, and then on this pop here, I found it interesting that we were rejecting under the 73.02s. But I also in my mind was like, okay, we're in demand, so don't be too quick to just short because we're holding underneath. And let me see what NQ is. Oh, don't tell me I don't have it. I don't have NQ. I think NQ was hinting to me that it wasn't, a short wasn't the smartest idea, so I was avoiding it. But I did find it interesting that we were holding underneath those 1,000 lot, that 1,000 delta. So you technically almost could have got short, but it was also super early in the session. We were only what 6 minutes into it on this rejection here, so I was being a little more patient. And I've also seen where like we go down into demand down here and then pop up. So I was just like, let me just wait here.
Like, should the idea be, let me wait and see some deltas build up?
Yeah. That's another thing. Like if in the open I don't see a lot of delta like building, that helps me be more patient because I'm like, okay, I don't see strong participants anywhere, so let me just sit out for a bit. But just looking at the auction already, just from 6:30 to now, you can see that a lot of looking at really pisses me off sometimes. You can see that all the buy, like most of the action that's happening here, if you compare the delta to the buyers to the sellers, most of it is buying here. So here we have 200, here we have 200, here we have 100, 100, 200, or 300, 200. But there's not really much aggressive selling besides this 200 delta here. So that also is telling me like, okay, buyers are really trying to push this higher. Now the question becomes, do they hold underneath this 73.02 again? And the fact that this buying delta is right here too, I would also be like, okay, first they have to get above this, then they have to battle that 1,000 delta that was up there. So to me, once we get on this sweep two, once we get above this, it's like, okay, buyers have an opportunity to push here. So boom, here's the first sign of like, okay, buyers are truly here. Now the question becomes, do they reclaim 73.10?
Where was the 1,000 delta you're saying?
It was 73.10 to 73.02.
Oh, that's right.
But we don't see it. We don't see it because I don't have that 5:30 a.m. pre-market on my replay here. So here, okay, that already is interesting to me. We reclaimed set or not fully reclaimed 7310, but now we're pushing 6 points away from that 1,000 delta. Oh, this is too. I got long at 650. So I was watching a pullback into this 7310, 7307 area. Preferably 7307 because that's where my 45-minute demand actually is. But that's where I messed up on my first entry. I got impatient and didn't wait for that pullback into the 7307 because here we started to consolidate.
So would your stop have been 7301 ish area?
Or my actual, if I got in at 07 or what entry?
Well, just in general, because you said you go by the delta now, right, or something like that.
Yeah. Let me see. I don't remember what my stop was. I had a 3.5 stop and I got in at 7309. So the reason I did get in, my stop was a little tighter this time, was because one, so we know that the delta is 7302 to 7310. We reclaimed it super strong. And then once we pulled back into 7307, uh I, we like built up, we held this as support. I could have had a larger delta, but my entry was 7309, so I didn't want to have a 9 point stop. That was not even an option for me, so I had to put it underneath the 307s. So I set it at 306.
A 9 point stop sounds crazy.
It does. But also, this is just over watching the market over and over. And this is even before I started doing the delta, was that I realized when we are bouncing off a higher time frame zone and we pull back into a demand zone like this after super strong strength, holding this demand zone and setting your stop slightly underneath that tends to work. So that's also part of why I set my stop like that. But I got in long on my first trade. I'm about to get in right now. Right here. I got long. And it was just me being impatient.
I think I'm at 09.
No, this is the first trade. I took a loss for.
Okay.
So I was afraid that I was gonna miss the move, and I was seeing that we were holding above 7310. So I was like, okay, we pushed 6 points here, and then you know how I say I want to wait for that shallow pullback. The pullback happens, and then I seen a little buying happening here, and I was like, oh, let me just get in. And I had set my stop on this one at 7309. So this was just bad management on my part.
I mean, 7309 is still within that range, 7307, 7310. I think that's a bad entry.
Yeah, but I should have known that we could still pull back a little deeper. Because remember, this is 1,000 lots here from 7302 to 7310. So, yeah, I got in here, but having my stop where these 1,000 lots were, I kind of just put my stop there because it was underneath this large bubble and I didn't want to put my stop too far from my entry. I got in at 13. So that's already 4 points. So it was just me not managing the trade properly, honestly. And then once I got stopped on this next pull down, I told myself, okay, wait to see what happens at these 07s. So I got stopped there. And although this happened, I was just like, I can't just get in just because I'm seeing a pop. I try to force myself not to get emotional here. My next entry was at 650. So, okay, here's the pullback into 7307. I wish we could see the delta from the thousands.
You just didn't wake up on time, or you don't want to zoom out?
Yeah, I didn't wake up on
Okay.
time. So on this pop here, I liked how aggressive it was. And I got in. Here, I got in. And see how it was on that little pullback, that little uh I don't know what name to give it, but a little pullback that occurred.
Yeah.
So we got that sweep off of my key level, off of the delta. Got that sweep there, and then I got in on that little pullback. And then in this case, I was targeting pre-market high, but I also knew that we had this wall of limit orders at 73.20, and then that happened. I wasn't expecting that. But we cleared those limit orders. And then I was like, okay, let me see the reaction at 73.20. I actually was pretty hyped on my ability to hold once it hit 73.20 because I didn't exit right at 20. I exited at like 22. And see here, there's no reason for me to really worry because one, we don't have limit orders. The aggressive buying is kind of underneath us here. So it's holding the way it should be. Now it breaks this, and there's still no reason for me to exit.
Because it broke it?
What?
Because it broke it, there's no reason to exit?
There's no reason to exit because it broke it and didn't like pull back super fast. Say if it would have broke it and then pulled back, I would tell myself, okay, on the next pop I'm exiting. Or maybe I would have exited right on as it started rejecting. But this time it pops above it slightly, just like really quick, pulls back and then keeps pushing. But then I was like, okay, now I'm gonna start getting greedy. So I exited on this next push. I was still holding it here. Seeing these limit orders at 22, I was starting to get nervous. But even looking at the delta, like delta was telling me like no true. It's not like buyers are aggressively pushing here and getting rejected. It's just like, okay, they're trying to build up. Yeah, it's just like 36, 97, 23. There's really no absorption happening. Like I could keep holding this.
Damn.
All they're doing is building their position. And I exited on that little push to 22, but I should have held it. Oh no, I exited right here on the pullback to 22. But look at how delta it's still small numbers. It's not like buyers are aggressively pushing into the limit orders and being absorbed. All they're really doing is just buying. So when you're in a position, this can help you not to exit too early because they're just buying. There's nothing bad happening. And that's what I need to learn to realize in the trade while I'm in it. Now, once we hit these 26s, that starts to get scary. Like this.
You gonna hold through that pullback?
That, I don't know. I actually don't even know how it happens. Until later, I just fast forward too much. But see how not, and even then, it still kept growling. See how not until later it starts to build up heavy here, 100, 100, but it still continues. Oh, this shit went. This shit like really took off. Damn, there was no reason. Even on this pullback, nothing was there telling you to exit. This is where really it gets tough. But even then, it pulls back to the 20s. Damn, that would be too scary for me. Okay, see how this starts to happen? Now, when that starts to happen, okay, be a little cautious. You don't want to see a quick rejection of that because then that could be a sign like dollars are starting to step in. See how it was 100 delta and then it started to get it like, or it's building up again. That's where this rejection happens, I think.
Dude, I wonder if people who are better than us and what their crazier review sessions are like. I wonder if someone has like 100 videos of delta reading sped up, and then it's just kind of like replaying it and deciding that's a good entry, that's a bad entry, that's a stop, that's the target right there, and just next one, and then do it again, like under than 5 minutes onto the next one, like a
I would get
rapid.
confused.
But like, wow, once we get better, I feel like a rapid version of that helps you work on your precision.
Oh, like the little details and stuff like that.
Yeah, like once we understand it more, and it's kind of like, all right, now I just want to do a bunch of replays of this fast, look for the move, the setup, and then on to the next replay. Because like what we're doing now, like I'm finding this so useful, and I'm like, oh, I'm ready for the next day. But then live is so different.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, live is so different. But see, the thing I'm looking at right now is like, was there a reason to exit? But remember how I said when it's 100 delta, it's not really telling. It's not really a telling thing of like anything being absorbed. Like it's just all buyers are in control. Now, obviously, seeing the rejection here is going to be pretty nerve wracking emotionally. But as far as the delta itself, there's nothing really. Okay, then, but even then, it's 100. Oh, this 300 is a little scary.
But if you're in at 7309, you would have to exit it by now
Oh,
because
fuck.
you're not holding through this fucking pullback. Fuck that.
Oh, no. But see, what I'm asking myself is like, okay, if my target's pre market high, how do I know to exit before it taps pre market high? That's what
Mm.
I'm trying to like figure out. Which like looking at it right now, I can't really
Well,
answer that.
isn't oh, this is a higher time frame trade, huh?
Yeah,
Uh, I was
I
gonna say
wonder.
if it's an auction based trade, shouldn't we just go by the
Oh
auction?
fuck yeah, hell yeah! Do not hold the auction based trade trying to get 50 points or 30 points.
Yeah.
See, because it never hits pre market high. It ends up rejecting. I guess this was this rejection that we're seeing. Damn, and it never gets this 400.
Imagine, dude, you held through that pullback, and then you're like, hell yeah, it's going back to my target, and then it pulls back again.
That would suck. Oh, but see, that's one thing. So see how here we have this 300 buy delta that appears. Let me see when it appears actually. It doesn't appear there. It appears on this sell link. That's interesting. But see how this 300 selling buy delta appears? The fact that, like I said, 300 sticks out to me. That's like an outlier, let's say. I want to see what's the reaction after this 300 delta appears. We continue rejecting it. So say I was in this and I'm like, I'm gonna hold it, but then if we break underneath this, if we can't get back above this 300, I need to get out. Does that make like I'm in
Yeah.
this and then it pulls back and then I see this 300 appear and now I'm telling myself, okay, if we can't hold above, I'll put like my exit to take profit at 22, and if we can't get back above 336, then I'm definitely just gonna take my profits at 22.
That's good trade management.
Yeah, that's how I would act.
But dude, during live, my brain is going everywhere. Shit, I ain't thinking about all that structure.
I feel that.
Especially when I'm already in a trade, forget it.
Yeah, dude. Sometimes I forget to like zoom out and see where the next limit order is, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta remember to do that.
I know.
But does that make sense? Like as far as how I'm getting my entries?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like all three trades we've gone over so far, it's the same idea that delta appears, you wait for the reaction, you watch that pullback, and then you wait for that pop up, and then a quick little pullback and get in with the momentum.
The thing I like is that I understand everything. Everything makes sense. I don't have any like questions about how to really do this. It's just training my eye to see the actual outliers and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
I just need to review it a little more.
The reason I think that rapid version, which I'm just speaking now, but I got to come up with it for myself, is because you know how we're bummed out after a loss, and it's kind of like you have to move on to the next one, like not think about it. And that's why I think that would help. It's kind of like, oh, there's the setup, there's the entry, that would have been the best entry, move on to the next clip. And then because when we're doing it live, our emotions get so fucked with, of like, I'm like surprised when Eric takes a loss and then he gets back in minutes later. I'm like, if I take a loss, I'm done for the day. Like I don't even want to trade no more because I'm so bothered. But if you get
You just
that,
become numb to it, I guess.
yeah, and
I was gonna say that honestly, I don't even think that comes from reviewing. That comes from just taking the loss and just being like, "Fuck, I gotta keep my head in the game."
yeah, well, I
And that's
don't keep my head in the game.
that's where I mean, even remember when I was like, okay, I can only take one loss per. I honestly get upset with myself, even if the past week I took a loss and then I took another trade, and I still try to like get upset with myself that I take that second trade because I'm like, I don't want to be risking too much, but it's a battle for me. Like, I don't want to get back into that over trading state I was in, but I also want to take advantage of what I'm seeing.
Yeah. Just a balance, yeah.
So now that we got over gone over the 45-minute demand and the 4-hour demand. I'm gonna go over yesterday's trade, which was this one specifically was auction based. And you're gonna see this one is a little similar to the one from the 30-minute supply. It had like that slow buildup rather than the quick uh reaction that it had at the 4-hour and the 45-minute. And it also has that fast sweep that I mentioned at the 30-minute. So this little wick here is that fast sweep I mentioned. Or just even looking at it here. So with the auction, I really like to use the LVNs because it's a lot to align with my thesis. So here you can see that we have this super big LVN before we get into 4-hour supply. Uh, and then we have yesterday's high at 74.20. I think NQ was also NQ was just short of or just shy of that 4-hour supply. And when I got in, it was also rejecting yesterday's high. And VX was kind of not really doing much this day. Oh, fuck, what happened? Just had my. Oh, I thought it had my yesterday's high marked still. Oh, come on. 74.20. Oh, this shit needs to load. All right, so right there. And then we had this 30-minute demand zone. Um, was there a setup there that I was watching? I believe there was news. Oh yeah, so at 7 a.m. there was news, and I was watching a reclaim of that 30-minute demand zone, but it happened right at the news, so I didn't take it. Yeah, there was consumer sentiment. So on this pop up here, I was watching a support of there was Delta down here, but because it happened on news, I just avoided it. So then as we were coming up into yesterday's high, I like I mentioned, I had seen that LVN sitting above yesterday's high. And I was like, is it gonna reject there? It rejected once already right at the open. So I was like, okay, it could either reject there or it could pop into 4-hour supply. So as we were popping into yesterday's high, we had all these limit orders sitting right above yesterday's high. I haven't even reviewed this trade, so excuse me if I'm not as clear. Limit orders build up. They continue to stack up here as the buying comes into it. So right now we're at like this little wick here, it seems like. Right? Yeah. So I had to be really patient on this one, especially because it wasn't my key level. I told myself like don't just I almost was telling myself I'm just going to journal this one. But as things started to develop, I was like, okay, this is looking like my B plus setup here. So we get a rejection here. But look it, there's nothing here yet telling me that buyers are being absorbed. All we do is get a rejection at the limit orders. Like, okay, that's cool. We have this 200 Sal delta. That's the only thing that's sticking out to me. Beneath us, looking if to see if there's any support. We have this at 7405. We have 200 delta, 200 delta. So this to me is like, okay, this area could be support and it's right at VWAP. So that makes sense. And that was part of why this was my target because I was like, okay, rejection from yesterday's high to VWAP, where that support level is, I could just exit at that 200 delta.
So you were just trying to play the consolidation?
I mean, really, I wanted to see a break, but I was just like, look, calculating what my 10 points would be, and VWAP made sense. I did realize though that it was also the consolidation, but it was more based on the fact that there was that LVN, we got that fast sweep, and you'll see some delta appears up here. But yeah, I guess you can say it was playing the consolidation. But it wasn't like, oh, let me trade the consolidation. It was like, okay, we have this delta up here, we have this delta down here. Let me target that next delta level.
So your confirmations just happen to be inside of a
Yeah,
consolidation.
exactly.
Um,
Which over time may actually start to give me ideas about how to read the consolidation better too. So still, there's nothing here really sticking out. We do have this 300 Sal delta from this push down here. Now buyers are starting to try to show some aggression here. Limit orders appear real thick. 300 delta. So here's the first attempt of buyers trying to push, like a true push. Remember, I say, what's the reaction after the delta? So I see this and I want to ask myself, are we going to push higher or are we going to reject here? It just keeps building. 388.
If we reject, that's just consolidation too. I mean, absorption.
Yes, exactly. So buyers build up already. They're getting absorbed because it was 388 and then it dropped down to 377. So that's telling me buyers are trying here. And you know how I say, okay, after buyers try, you want to see a displacement away. So if buyers truly were going to keep pushing higher, I would have liked to have seen this buyer build up at 74.25 and then push to 75.30 and then maybe pull back and hold as support down here. But that doesn't happen. Instantly we get rejection instead. But there's nothing here telling me to short either. It's just information. That's all that's happening right now. And that's what I like about the delta is that you don't have to get in right when you see it. Like, okay, I identified it. Wait for the rest of the information to come in. So So I'm fast forwarding a bit. Now we get another pop into it and reject. But like I said, this is an auction based setup. So I was like, okay, I can't just get in because I'm seeing this. Like, I need something to really stick out to me. But it is interesting. It just adds to my thesis that, like, okay, buyers are struggling. So this is just more information. I see here that there's 285 delta. We still have that 200 sal delta here, and now we get this little push down. And we end up hitting VWAP again. And that, where is it? So that level we hit is right above those 200 deltas. So that already is telling me this is support and this is resistance. That's the information I have right now. I'm gonna just fast forward a bit. $400 delta here now. It was like 200 earlier, I believe. And now we're getting another strong pop here. So the thing I'm asking myself is, do we reclaim this 74.25 or do we reject it again? But then you can see here on the TOS chart, we just consolidate underneath yesterday's high for like maybe 15 minutes. As we're doing that, I'm looking at the delta here and I see, okay, we have this 200 sal delta at 74.20. We have this 200 buy delta like at the same area. And then we have that 74.25 300 delta. So that now makes this area, that was the wrong drawing. That area there is my interest of where I want price to pop into in order for to see if buyers truly have intention. But because we have this 200 here and we have this 300 here, I don't just want to get short just because we pop into here and reject, because I'm aware that my stop would have to be above these 300s if I were to short anywhere underneath it. I just fast forwarded. So see how we pop into it here? A previous version of me, I'd say, would have got short just because we held underneath. But if I got short because of that, I would have to set my stop up here at the 26s. And that's about a 6 point stop. But I never truly seen buyers' intention to try to get above again. It's just like, okay, they slightly pop and then nothing really happens. So when this was happening, I kept telling myself, like, wait for something to stick out. Like, let something truly show you that buyers want to try to push this again and fail. Because I was already having a short bias at this point due to how they were holding underneath. But I didn't want to get tricked just by seeing a quick rejection either. And part of me did feel like I was missing the move. I was like, damn, I might have missed this. But I had to keep like, as it was, I was legit kept telling myself, like, no, nothing has stuck out yet that they wanted to try to get back above here. So then they pop up again. But look at how when they pop up, it's the buying doesn't change here. Like it just stays there. So that's telling me that like there was no true intention to try to push higher. They're just they it's the consolidation idea. They're just chilling there. If buyers truly wanted to get above, you'll see how it changed to 301. You'll see the delta start to rise, and that'll be like, okay, they're really trying now. So this is that sweep I mentioned. And now once that sweep happened, I seen they rejected under the 383. This buying didn't really change at all. So now I was like, okay, I need to get short as long as we hold underneath the 19. I'm just looking at what time my entry was. So my entry was at 7:37:26. Right now it's 7:36:53. So shortly I'll be getting in.
Are you usually looking at Bookmap at the 15-minute time frame?
No, I'm looking at it. I look at it based on how I can see the delta. Like say
Oh, okay.
say the delta here. The reason I could be zoomed in like this is because there's nothing really, no information really that's this is giving me here. All the information is from this
Area.
what's happening here. So I could be more zoomed in this case. Oh fuck.
Mhm.
Hey. So we get
That's
that
good.
sweep. What happened?
No, I was just gonna say that's gonna help me with my zooming in, zooming out because I constantly
yeah.
do it.
Yeah. So then now I'm waiting for that hold underneath. And I'm liking how I'm gonna zoom in a bit. I'm liking how every time, like we got that fast sweep, and then buyers are getting stuck here now. They're trying to. You can't really see how zoomed in I was, but every time they would try to. Every time they try to pop, they like quickly get pushed down. I guess not quickly, but they get pushed down. So that to me is like, okay, this is looking good. Then that little sweep up again. And I'm like, okay, they're trying to build up and it's not happening. So I get short here. I'm short. And now I set my stop above these above where did I set? It was above the delta, not above the bubble. Look, I lost the delta. I set my stop above this 300 delta here. So it was like at the 26s.
How many points was that?
6.75 stop. But I was nervous because I was like, fuck, this stop is far. I never put my stop like this.
I mean, it helps, but if you lose, man, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah. But see how in this case I hadn't taken a loss for the day. So I was like, okay, I can risk these 6 points because it would be like what I normally would lose on uh 2 trades.
Oh.
Or somewhere around there. But I liked how the main reason why I was comfortable with getting short was because of this fast sweep and the inability to continue pushing higher. We seen that aggressive buying try to push, it failed. We had that LVN, so everything in my mind was like, okay, this is the setup I want to see if it's auction based setup. All I wanted to see us was not remain above these three. Like as long as we could get back underneath this, I'll be safe. But see how this setup, just like the 30-minute earlier, took forever to play out, whereas the higher time frame ones, they're super fast. So that's where your mind has to shift when you're gonna do an auction base versus a higher time frame zone. The ideas are still the same, but the way they appear is a little slower. At least from what I'm noticing right now. It could be the conditions too. I'm not sure. I don't have enough data to back it. I'm gonna just speed this up a bit. So once this happens, I'm like, okay, I could be chilling, and then this falls. At this point, I think I at 10, I think I went break even. And then I got out. I got out like over here. But I should have, I mean, I told myself I should have held it, but chat said that I did this good. I was smart by exiting. But I kind of feel like I should have held it. Because there was no reason to exit. Look at how when it came down to '07.
Yeah, but you're staying disciplined.
Yeah, fuck discipline. No, I'm kidding. um my whole thing is like what I'm trying to get myself to trust more. I think actually that was the right thing to do. I got out at 7:42:53. Oh, on this pop, I started getting scared because I was like, fuck, I'm at break even. This could stop me out. So when it came back down, I just exited. But when it came back down, looking at how it was selling off, see how like it just continues and nothing on the delta is telling me that buyers are really trying to push this higher.
And that 7,400 looks perfect, like a perfect target.
You know,
But it was still a good trade,
yeah.
regardless.
But I still do label this B plus. It's not A plus in my eyes, just because the higher time frame idea. Like I want my mind to really recognize that this is an auction setup, and it still is a B plus setup as far as like why I'm taking it.
As far as why you're taking it as a B plus setup, but dude, like understanding the auction trades, I feel like are way better than the higher time frame because the higher time frames are more obvious. This one, I feel like you have to like be a little more creative.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why I like kept saying even with you guys is wait for that obvious something to stick out that buyers are really failing to get back above this 383 delta. If this wouldn't have happened, if this sweep wouldn't have happened, I probably wouldn't have probably would have never got in. I like to hope I wouldn't because I want to make sure my mind knows like let something really tell you that they're failing.
And right there, the pop in before that spike, the rally into
This,
the one in the middle.
others.
Yeah, when you said like it pulls back only like 2 to 3 points, but it's not enough strength of the buyers, so don't get in there because I would have normally got in there.
Yeah, me too. That's exact. And with the delta, I'm starting to realize that you can see what kind of intention they're really trying to make there.
Yeah, that's gonna help me.
So, like
This is good.
that's the difference. You can see the speed in which this happens compared to the higher time frame. And honestly, with the higher time frame, what's harder for me with those is that it happens so fast.
Yeah,
So like it's either you trust it because it's a higher time frame, but you're gonna have to be fast with it, or you get creative with this and you
yeah.
really be patient. Those are the two main differences in my eyes.
It's a good one.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, a lot of this is that I wasn't using.
I feel like I made this review more clear about what I'm looking at because I understand it myself more now.
Yeah, it was a lot more clear.
The other review where I had initially mentioned the delta, I was still kind of trying to grasp it myself, so it was a little tougher to explain. But this week, I really was like, okay, I think I'm understanding this better. Even
Yeah.
chat said when I gave it my reviews, it was like, oh, you're explaining your trades a lot cleaner.
Yeah, that's good. It's good for all of us. And Eloy, one demo trade based off the auction next week.
I don't even want to tell you guys that I took a live trade this week.
Dang! Wait.
What day?
Either yeah.
What day?
Was it yesterday?
At a zone?
Hello?
Or auction?
Yeah, and then it worked afterwards, but I just attempted it trying to read the delta. Like,
Hello?
y'all don't hear me?
I hear you.
Oh, Gabe. There he goes. But it was in the zone. I just
Oh,
can you hear us?
now I can.
Oh, okay.
What day did you do it?
I took it yesterday in the zone, but I don't know. I was trying to take the trade, figuring out how to read the delta. So I knew, oh, I didn't read that or I didn't see that part, and then it worked afterwards. But yeah, I was just trying like old school stuff with trying to understand the delta.
Yeah, it's confusing sometimes.
I mean, it's part of the process. Just taking those losses sucks, but I feel like those losses I took the past few weeks like really helped me like understand where my errors were in reading the auction.
And today's session helped me understand part of my error too. Like I was kind of, I didn't really like even. It was more of like an annoying trade. I haven't traded in a while, and I was like, let me just take one. And today, what you explained helped me realize some of the reason why I lost. I was like, in regards to reading the delta, I was like, oh, I didn't read it like that at all.
Cool. Yep. Well, that's what these are for. But I mean,
Hey, you
that's
recorded
me.
this one?
Yeah. An hour and 54 so far.
And there was more auction setups throughout the week, but I feel like just digest that information for now because
Yeah, we
the
have
other
to go
ones
through every
were
single
a
one.
little harder to catch. These were like very obvious, I feel like.
But this is also making a lot of more sense as to why Carmine always takes trades outside of zones. I guess we're just
Yeah.
understanding what he looks at now,
For sure.
which will help.
I even asked chat like, or I said like, oh, I'm starting to realize why Carmine takes the trades he takes, and I was gonna say it started explaining why like yes, his ability to read auction is what he focuses on more than the supplier demand zone.
Hell yeah, he doesn't even go by that strategy anymore.
But I do think it's still super like
Yeah,
that is the A plus.
yeah, the important setups, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn,
That's basically it though.
Tight.
good shit.
I think this week's gonna be short too because of Juneteenth on Friday.
All right.
It's a weird holiday.
Yeah, it is. Shout out.
Alright.
Well, any questions? That's all I got.
I like you guys' little political rant here at the end of the video. Side
That's it for me. Hey, Gabriel, you